And welcome back to Breakfast with Brothers for our count 'em, 1, 2, 3, third installation.
What is up, party people? Breakfast with Brothers coming back at you again. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, so we got a little something different for you guys today. We're going to be talking about some tech products that you may or may not be using in your everyday life. So what are they, Zach?
Yes, I mean, you may have used them in the past. Some of them are too new, too expensive to get your hands on. But we're going to be talking a little bit about the Oculus. And I think they have, a couple different versions of that. The Rift. I can't remember the name of the other one. And then obviously the it's Apple's version of the Rift and Oculus versions. I think it's just, what are they calling it? Apple glasses, Apple goggles or something like that?
Something along those lines. Let me take a peek so we can actually get the name right. But
Yeah,
no,
but
things
that's
along
aside from
those.
it. We,
Let's
are
see.
kind of diving into the beautiful life of augmented reality and kind of exploring that and, what AI has to do with it and, the metaverse in a whole. It's kind of a whole different life for everyone to be a part of. It's digital life. You can connect with people all the way in Australia, Russia, India, Asia. Kind of gives you a different perspective on, social reality.
It's called the Apple Vision Pro.
Apple Vision Pro. There it is. So yes,
Yeah.
it's a little bit further along than what Oculus is and other such VR glasses, because it's not just a gaming headset now, that you kind of immerse yourself into. You can use it as a transparent look into life. Like you could still walk around, take the bus. I wouldn't say drive your car by any means, but you can also do, a few different things while you're actually, working. It looks like a laptop setup for your eyeballs, as you're going through your day to day. And it's crazy. It's interesting though.
So do we want to talk about like the Zuckerverse, or did we want to go into like the Apple Vision Pros, or did we want to talk about like our experiences using the Oculus?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could talk about the Zuckerverse.
The
No, but the
Zuckerverse.
metaverse is cool and real. I actually took a survey on this not too long ago. It was more of like a opinion-based survey asking about what we think and our experiences with it and what it could look like for the future of AR and, AI, I guess in general, because they will definitely have a hand. AI will have a hand in making what the metaverse could be. Because I know what it exists as right now is just a little bit of a social construct for people to get together from all parts of the world. And it could just be all parts of your house. Two brothers could be gaming from each other's bedrooms, or, it could be your, uncle, maybe across the world. I guess it could be across the country, California. Could be people calling over from Europe. And I think that's what's so cool about it. I remember when I first got into the metaverse, I was using Ryan's, and for everyone out there, Ryan's a close buddy who I went to college with at Alfred, and he had an Oculus. I think it was the Quest 2, and we hopped in, and they have a little bit of everything, for everybody. It's They have gambling and like a casino setup. They also have like
Sick.
an entertainment scenario where you can go and listen to movies or podcasts or just jam to music and have like a little dance party. More along the lines of like a disco thing, where you could party and listen to other people and tune into what they're doing. And then they also have the games, obviously. It's not just, a place for social excitement like Facebook. It's also, used for games. So I don't know if you have some type of experience with that, but
No, I can't say that I've actually like gone into the metaverse. I've always kind of just used the Oculus that John has, Gabby's little brother.
yeah.
We've only used that a couple of times just playing a couple of games. Like I know I did like a flight simulator that was kind of crazy on like an actual jet. Um, and then there was another like it was like a battle arena. I can't remember what they call it, but That's the extent that I have on um, AR, I guess in this instance, augmented reality.
Yeah,
But
I remember when I first got the, little run through of the Oculus, again, Quest, I think, when Ryan put the goggles on my head and he took me to, it was a rock climbing game. I don't know if it was actually like a rock climbing wall or that's what it was supposed to be, but there was different levels and you could
that's
pick like
sweet.
different scenarios. Like you could climb Everest or something like that. And then they had another one where you could climb like a skyscraper. And then there were another couple that were similar to that, other cities, other places, other mountains. And in this case, I think the one I chose, you started in like a cave, and then you went around the outside of the mountain, went to the top of the peak, and then had to climb like a wind turbine. It was actually pretty crazy. But the whole point of the game is you have, you're attached to like the rock formations that have the
Yeah,
little,
you have to
uh,
like use your little clip to like clip in like each checkpoint and stuff.
yep, clip into the checkpoints. You have to like, very carefully maneuver your hands because in the game they won't let you like cross through your hands. Like it's actually like real time where if you have to like reach, you have to like move one hand before you can move the other. So you have to be very meticulous. And then if you like miss, they give you chances to like jump to different ledges and like cut corners and stuff like that. So you take the risk, you kind of, lose out on the possibility of safety. But it's cool because once you do like make the jump, then it's just like, oh yeah, I did it. And then once you're there, you can like, you know, like you said, do checkpoints with the carabiner, and then from there you just pretty much scale, whatever map you're on. And I remember when I was doing it, Ryan's apartment had like low ceilings, so when I was moving my hands, like with the VR goggles on my head,
Scraping your knuckles, you know.
I punched the ceiling and blasted apart the skins on my knuckle, and it was bad. It was bad news. And it was like the popcorn ceiling, with all the
Oh,
spiky
love
bits.
it. Yep, love it.
Not a good time. But the goggles were cool. That's what I remember most, even if I had the indoor pain.
Yeah, no, the goggles are pretty sweet. I enjoyed like doing some AR. It's just like I can't sit in it for too long before I start getting a little like motion sickness. Um,
Same.
it's not too bad, but like when you're sitting in there for a little longer than like 30 minutes, like which I have done, it gets tough after a little bit. But I mean, like your body gets used to it, I'm sure, as you continue to play and use it. Um, you know, getting past that feeling of nausea because you're just completely immersed up to your eye in this stuff. Um,
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I couldn't imagine what using the Apple Vision Pro would be like out and about.
oh,
I keep seeing all those silly, like maybe it's on TikTok, maybe some Facebook Reels here and there of people using it on like a subway or a bus, or driving in their friend's car or something like that. And you always see them just happily going about, whatever they're doing, clicking on Google Chrome or going through email or just playing like Clash of Clans or something like that. And again, it's of course the goggles on your face, but you can see through it, like the goggles are transparent. I don't know if that was originally the case they wanted to get away with, but I think it's a good idea in the sense that you can still operate and activate things in your daily life while also being connected digitally.
for anyone out there that has watched SAO, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, everyone is going to be kind of locked into something, and it's
They're
just
going
going
to
to be
be
ridiculous.
they're going to be absolutely like just mindless if things like this continue to happen. In my opinion, um, we're strapping on goggles that we'll be wearing like people are wearing throughout their day for like the Apple Vision Pro. Like it's like they're pulling up screens right here. They can have like separate screens that they'll leave in like certain rooms that like the Vision Pro will like remember. So like if you like sat in the bathroom, right? And you pulled up a screen, you can blank out everything else around you and you can like make it so that you're taking a shit in like the Alaskan wilderness and like you can have snow around you and everything and you
That's
can
cool.
literally have like a TV that you push up and like you can be watching literally whatever you want in the Alaskan wilderness while you're taking a shit.
That's actually pretty funky. I mean, you feel like that would be helpful in a lot of different scenarios than just changing your environment. Because I know there's probably aid in like the healthcare realm for people who are maybe doing surgeries, for their first time around. because people who
Yeah.
are surgeons, people who are doctors aren't going to be, super qualified super qualified the first time around. So, I feel like it gives them a chance to be able to do training in VR and I guess AR in this case, augmented reality. And I'm assuming it wouldn't be on real people because, as much as it is a handy dandy tool for having those presets in your rooms, like, you want to have a specific way your bedroom's set up, you want to have a specific way your living room's set up. I mean, if you're going to go outside and you're going to look at stuff, I'm sure you'll have like a setup for if you're in your car, for example, and then maybe for public commuting. But I feel like after that, there's also the handy side of it. So maybe we could dive into that a little bit and maybe give a futuristic outlook of what helpful and good tactics it could be used for instead of the entertainment side, the quality side that people kind of just buy it for initially.
All right. Yeah. I mean, like, I guess I guess we can give an example of something that's like been like useful. Like I saw this clip. I don't know if it was for the Vision Pro or what it was, but similar likeness to it, where like a screen could just pop out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So there's this video of this man. He's like working on his car. He's got his hood open, and then he's like working on something. Next thing you know, he pans to his right, and there's just like a YouTube video up, and like next to it is like, I wouldn't say like a parts list, but I thought there was like a screen next to it showing like the part or whatever he was working on. And like the video was going through on how to like fix up his car, what he needed to do for it, so on and so forth. But it was just cool that he just turned to his right and he had the video like right there. So while it might be like an entertainment aspect in that sense, I feel like it was also very much a helpful aspect, because I've done that before where I'm watching a YouTube video on my phone while I'm trying to fix my serpentine belt. So, trying to figure out a way to like fit my hands down there and like see how it looks.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that would be a perfect scenario for, and not only doing it work on your own car, but for people who are doing it at like, local Firestones and Valvolines, places like that, who are doing quick oil changes and stuff, because it might be helpful for trainees. Like I'm thinking of restaurants where you come in and you don't need to be trained to a specific scenario, but they have to show you how to do things on the job, like fast
Right.
food restaurants, for example. I think McDonald's would be a good spot to have that for people who are coming in, for their first few weeks of work, where they show you how to put burgers together, make certain dishes. I mean, it could also go for just restaurants that aren't fast food, maybe fast
Right.
casual or a little bit more sit down, because then it gives people a chance to go ahead, try something out in, VR for, it doesn't have to be long. I wouldn't say they would be doing it for their entire existence of working at this chain restaurant or fast food place, because obviously you're still going to have people that are taking orders, speaking with customers every day. I'm sure if I went to a restaurant, I wouldn't want to see people just all the employees wearing goggles the whole time, doing
Dude,
their
that would
thing.
be sick though. Just like they're making hamburgers and they're just going,
I think it'd be funny in the fact that if they did it, I almost wonder if it would speed things up. Maybe that's not so funny, but I think the idea that you're walking in there kind of expecting a turnout, having expectations about what that's going to look like for your food and speeding things up. But then at the end of the day, I feel like if you have that AR or that VR situation and scenario in front of you, things just go haywire fast. The burgers they're actually making, they're just stacking stuff, but it's all falling off the counter. Or like they're going to put fries in the fryer and they're just continually missing it and they're just dumping loads of fries into the vat or something like that. Or they're going ahead and handing stuff out the window and they're like, oh yeah, have a great day. But it's actually just dropping outside the window onto the floor. Nobody actually grabbed their food. I could just see so many ways it could go haywire quickly.
dude. That kind of reminds me of. Do you remember holographic meatloaf?
Yeah, from SpongeBob,
Plank, yeah, Plankton's holographic meatloaf. Oh,
of course.
holographic meatloaf again.
And then at the end of the episode, he loves it. Holographic meatloaf, my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like what that reminds me of, like where they're just like they're making food, but it's not actually like real, or to the sense of like real people actually being there to pick up the food.
Yeah, and not that that episode speaks truth on anything that's happening in the future, but I know I've seen certain things and depictions of what food could be like in the future with genetically modified, I think it's organisms, GMOs. And in this case, I think the last thing I saw about it was 3D printing meats. And not that that has a crazy amount to do with AR, but I know there will be AI situations where they will be, self-involving themselves in the creation of it. Not that I think that we should move in this realm of GMOs and having food that's just plastic based, and I don't want to say organic by any means. It's not. I guess they would try to make it organic. They would sell it as this, and that, and put it on the market in some fashion. But it's going to be strange. I think there's already things in our food that we should be aware of and watch out for. But in this case, with 3D printing of meat, that it's just an insane concept to think about. Not only because you're eating what I can only assume is going to be microplastics, but you're also not getting the same nutrition you would, for example, if you're eating, farm raised beef, chicken, pork, any of that stuff, the main proteins, of a daily life. So who knows?
Well,
I only think that AI would be a part of that because they might, have some self-involvement in figuring out how to make that meat. And I'm sure the AI will be self-learning about what it takes to make that meat organic and protein filled. And I'm sure they're going to have one excuse after another as to how it's better for you and how it can make you feel better and it'll fill you up faster. And then the list goes on of why they're going to be able to force feed us into that direction versus sticking around with what we already have.
yeah, I guess it's a good thing to discuss. Now, I wanted to run back to like the microplastics for a second. I know that would be a little off topic from our tech, but isn't it? I just wanted to ask: is it? Aren't we always like ingesting some sort of or amount of microplastics, being that they can even be like breathed into the sense?
I think in some form. I know I've heard things about rice having plastics in it that, for every few grains of rice, it's actually just a piece of plastic or something like that. Now, I don't know if that's true in any sense of the way. I know
Right.
I've seen people do like silly TikTok experiments or Facebook reels about it. But in this case, I think it depends on where you're sourcing your rice from, where you're buying it from, because there are a lot of brands and things that exist right now that you buy as food that all reign under a couple umbrellas of big brands. The few I can think of are like Unilever, P&G, Mars is another one, and all these
Right.
separate companies, have I just want to say maybe 3 or 4 dozen little conglomerates underneath them, that exist under their umbrella. And all of those products, depending on, what company it is, they, all manufacture to certain specifications within their company. So I know with certain brands that they sell, there definitely is, something fishy going on. And I think it all happens in the factory, when they're dealing with heavy machinery, doing things in bulk, and being able to mass scale and manufacture these things. It puts it in a different light, because all these things are, like you said, undergoing things where microplastics could sneak in, get into the food supply. And it kind of reminds me of those little packages that say, this product was manufactured on the same belt as peanuts, so therefore it may contain peanuts. So I think in that case, microplastics run under the same ideology.
Yeah, because I feel like they transfer through like airborne processes, in a sense. I feel like there's something, or at least a percentage that we're always inhaling, just because of who we are as people and what we've done with like plastics in general.
Yeah.
Um, I think microplastics are something we can't avoid at this stage of the game, and I think everyone at least has some within their system easily. Um, it's kind of scary to realize how much that we're either inhaling or ingesting.
Well, I feel like you think about, uh, I'll give an example. You wake up on a sunny day, your blinds are cracked a little bit in your bedroom or wherever, and the sun rays are coming through, and you can see the little dust particles floating in the air, whether or not
Yeah,
that's
that's dust
cat, dog
particles, though.
hair, dust bunnies, whatever. But that could exist in the same sense with microparticles, and at a
I guess
nano
that's
scale
true.
too. Like these microparticles don't need to be anything big. And like you say, if we're ingesting them, inhaling them every day, whether or not that's through food or just breathing, going out on the street, taking a walk to our car to hop in it, those little things that we do every day, if they do, hone some type of inhalation that we're getting microplastics from, or if we're just going to lunch, grabbing a burger, getting a little bit of microplastics from that ingestion. I wouldn't say that
True.
it's obviously not lethal levels. Nobody's keeling over because microplastics are killing them. But as we move closer to stuff that we were talking about before with 3D printed meat and the GMO, sustainable beef that they're trying to, push. I know, I think Bill Clinton and not Bill Clinton, what's his name? Bill Gates was a big proponent of pushing for the GMO, 3D printed meat and stuff like that. So stuff like that would push us closer to ingesting more microplastics, which could lead to a lot of health problems. People probably going to the hospital more and coming up, with results that aren't conclusive, things that's gonna look negative, for their future outlook of longevity.
Right. Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's something that a lot of people overlook, and don't really think about. And personally, I don't think about it sometimes too, and I'm guilty of that. But it's not something to like, I guess, put yourself down about. It's something to just have your eyes open to and realize what you're ingesting, what you're eating, taking the time to look and see what you're eating in general and the ingredients that are used within it. And I think if we all start focusing on moving towards better things to eat, I think we'll all do better as people in general.
Yeah, I agree. And with that, I think it comes from knowing where your food's coming from. I know a few people who are in my life that like to keep a close eye on where their food's coming from. They will go to local butchers, and get their maybe a whole cow, a half cow, throw it in the freezer, what have you. And these animals, are free range, usually eating a vegetable based diet, mostly just grass. But sometimes whatever seed they're eating, is locally sourced or made on the property if it's a larger farm. And then places that raise chickens, another thing, free range chickens, who are eating anything on the property, whether or not that's worms, grubs. They're not, eating vegetables. It's mostly insects. And then after that, hormone free, because that goes a long way with eggs being healthy to eat and actually having protein value. And then also the chicken itself. And that goes for any other animal you're eating, be it pork. I know some people, will dive out into different cultures and like eat dog and cat in China and Japan, for example, and other countries based over there. But that's besides the point. These places that you're getting your food from is where it's what's going to be important in the future. Because if we're going to go down a path that they do start printing meat with 3D printers and using GMOs more heavily, they're just going to be showing up on grocery shelves without being told about it. It's not like we're going to be informed. We're probably going to see maybe some type of terms and agreement disclaimers in some places pop up, when you go shopping, kind of like you would if you were buying a phone or signing up for car insurance or anything like that with terms of agreement, where you'll just kind of be going and it's just going to happen. Everything's going to be right there. It's not going to be plain as day. It's going to be, kind of behind the shade of your eyes. So we have to, like you said, keep an eye out and, maybe start going to more local sourcing, see what we can do as far as trying to maintain a healthy concept of what a good diet looks like. So,
Yeah, that's the hardest part. Is just doing it. It's very easy, and especially when you get busy, to just go out and buy whatever food that you're trying to get, and then come home. Go to like Walmart or go to ShopRite or go to any other bulk store, Sam's Club, Costco, anywhere that sells any type of variety of food that it comes from different manufacturers. You know, whatever supermarket you use. Of course, it's easy. It's ease of access makes everything much easier in the sense of I just got to stop at the store and I'll be home like later, rather than going out and actually looking for certain products to buy, such as like Zach mentioned, going to the butcher. Obviously going to like a farmer's market, getting like fresh produce, or
yep.
buying from a friend that that grows fresh produce in the sense. It's the hard part, is just actively trying to find good food for yourself. It becomes a difficult notion once you get busy in your life. So
Right.
work at it day by day as best as you can.
And I think, as people start working more and getting paid less, that challenge does become more difficult, trying to source healthy foods and, be conscious about what you're eating. I think from there, we could get back into AR in a sense of where that could help for people that do start wearing these Vision Pros out in the public, doing things in real life. I think it'll probably go a long way to have, and this is just an example, if they started putting labels on products that they could be QR codes, they could be URL links, what have you. But if people are wearing the Vision Pros, or maybe they just have their phone out and they want to scan in some information, start packaging products with these codes that they could pull up, where they're sourced from, where those ingredients were sourced from, how they were made, stuff like that. And people could be doing their little Google searches in the grocery store. I'm just thinking of packaged ground beef, for example. You go over in ShopRite, Price Chopper, Weiss, wherever you're shopping, and you pull up to the little scanner. It's like 85% this, 15% that, the lean ground beef. And then you go ahead and pick it up, and it'll show you where that beef was sourced from, because I know most grocery stores will have it paced out for that week when they're putting out their product. So I think it would be helpful in the sense of having AR on your side to be able to scan stuff in like that and go ahead and figure out where the stuff is getting sourced from, who's making it, manufacturers that are transporting it, and stuff in that sense. Not that it would go a long way for a lot of people, because I'm sure not many people really care. They're just there to buy their groceries and get out, and they, just want ground beef, they want chicken, they want pork for what it is. They don't need to think about all the excess and worry. But for the people who are a little more health conscious and, of course, weary, about the current future of what is to come with so many uncertainties, I think it'll go a long way, for people to be able to trust in something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanna ask you a question, Zach. It might not pertain to anything we just discussed, but I think this is a question we should leave for the viewers. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, would you rather have unlimited games but no bacon, or unlimited bacon but no games?
Games, as in any games ever? Video
Games,
games on my phone?
games, games.
I suppose bacon. I'm a big bacon guy. I'm a huge bacon guy. Like we were having a couple podcasts ago. I don't know if it was our first episode. Could have been the
But
second. We were
but
talking
no
about bacon.
games.
Yes, but bacon.
But
And of
no
course, games,
games.
I feel like, so board games too.
Games.
That's a that's a hard question. I feel like, I don't know. I guess the one thing that I have seen lately is that pork is one of the more unhealthy, cuts of meat that you can be eating based on, I don't know, maybe just a lot of made up stuff. I guess it depends on who you are buying your, bacon from, but also what that pig is eating, because you're going to be getting whatever nutrition that this animal's getting after they, get slaughtered and put on the market for sale as beef.
Well,
So,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure pork is the most. It holds the most. Like, I wouldn't say parasites in general, but like it's a very unclean meat, and that's why in a lot of religions it's kind of seen as unclean. That's the
sure.
that's
Yeah,
the
I
whole
didn't
point.
even think about that, the
Yeah.
religious aspect of some cultures too. So,
Yep.
yeah, I guess in that sense, if I had to give up bacon, I would do it for the games. I am a big fan of gaming, whether or not that's PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and like he said, Ian said, games that you play at home, board games, little bits and pieces of the knick-knackery toys that are, I'm trying to think of an example, like the ring game, or like Cup Pong. That's a game. I mean,
Facts.
phone games when you're out in public doing absolutely nothing. You need something to fall back on. Phone game. Boom. I'm a big Clash of Clan guy. That's just my thing. So
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave you with the same question. Would you want unlimited games and no bacon, or as much bacon as you can handle but no games?
we're asking the big questions out here today. The big
Asking
one.
the big questions. But other than that, that's gonna have to do it for this today. Today's episode. Um, please follow us on Spotify. Check us out on YouTube. We have a Facebook page up. All the links should be down within the YouTube bio. Spotify, there should be some links on it. I've kind of been working on that, so keep an eye out for all that stuff. But besides that, we'll see you guys at the end of the week. Peace.
Out for the Out for the. I'm walking the bull. Out for the. Out for the. Out for the. Out for the. Out for the.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.